So we're just going to find a bit of alignment. So standing with your feet in a parallel position. Naturally, most of us stand with our feet slightly, sort of like 11 o'clock and 1 o'clock. And what we want to do is just bring that in ever so slightly. So we're tracking like tram lines, everything's going forward. So it might feel really bizarre, but this is a really good for your posture and good for your alignment. So just feel what that feels like. But just give your body a little shake, give your body a little rest. Get rid of any of that tension that you might be feeling, especially if you're first time joining us today. And just give your head a little nod and a roll and shake. Give your shoulders a shake and take a nice deep breath in. And send it away with a big sigh. Like a big hug. Breathing in. And let it go. And breathing in. And let it go. And just while we're doing this, just in your own time, take a couple more. Just make sure your tummy's nice and soft. Your butt's nice and soft. No tension in your glutes. And just take a little swing, a little twist. If you suffer with tension or anxiety, just taking a few moments to take a few nice deep sighs, a few of these twists in the day can really help to just release some tension. So we like to start the session by letting some of that go today, and then just let that melt away. Give your shoulders a little roll. Really pull those shoulders down into the base of your spine. You might hear them clunking and clinking. That's all right. You're just reminding them that you do know your shoulders are there for more than just shrugging. Okay, give your hands a little shake. Make sure your hands know that they're still there. All right, so let's begin. We're going to take our mind right down to your feet. So give your feet a little wiggle on the floor. Have a look, see what they're doing. My feet are quite wide, so if I flex my toes and really stretch my toes out onto the mat, see how wide you can make them. So really filling the space, really being aware of the soles of your feet. And this just gently just rocking forwards and backwards. Imagine that you were lucky enough to have some paint on the bottom of your feet and you were making a nice print. Just to test where your balance is. And it's all a bit of mindfulness. It's always just taking your mind in, thinking about the alignment of the body. And then when you've had enough of going forwards and backwards, let's go a bit side to side. So nothing massive. You don't want to feel like you're on the Titanic or anything crazy. So just nice and easy. Try and keep your body, try to not let it sway. Try and keep it in a nice long line from your earlobes right the way down to your heels. And then just let that sway melt away. We're going to take our focus down towards our center. So I'm going to just place my hands just at the base of my ribs. I'm going to fill my ribs, breathing in through my nose. And out through the mouth. Nice, so we're breathing in. And out. Just take a couple of those in your own time. And as you're breathing in, feel your ribs expand. As you're breathing out, feel your shoulder blades draw down. Feel that tension remove from the base of the neck. And one more breath in. And out. So just let your hands melt away and try and focus on that breath. We don't want to make it too intense. Sometimes it's hard enough to concentrate on having to do different movements, let alone having to concentrate on your breath. But when you can, just bring your mind back to your breath. It does help to enforce the movement and give body to the movement. Okay, so we're going to take your focus to your center. So where we've had a nice soft center from now, we're not going to engage all the time, so everything's super rigid. That doesn't do you any good. We're going to find that middle ground. So you've got this lovely band of muscles, and we'd like to think of your core as the six-pack that sits here, but in actual fact, it's everything that works around your obliques, which are on the side right into your back, right down from here all the way up to underneath your rib cage, so that whole bit like an apple core. And I want you to imagine you've got a big tight belt and it's being tightened up and squeezed. So think of it coming in from the side, from the back, pushing your belly button in towards that spine. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Really, really, really tense it. And then let it go about 50%. And feel what that feels like. And then let it drop about another 20, 25%. Feel what that feels like, and then let it go, let everything be soft. And just shake it out. Okay, so we're going to do that again, but this time when we get to that lower level, we're going to try and retain that. So take a nice squeeze in. So buckle up that belt. Squeeze everything in really, really tightly. Try not to hold your breath. Breathe out as you squeeze in. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze right from the spine and from your belly button. Then let it go 50%. And then let it go about another 25, 30%. And just know what that feels like. Take a breath and feel that engagement. So whenever I say to you, or you hear those magic words, engage your core, that is the feeling that you need to try and get to. It's almost like that feeling like you're about to sneeze and you want to stop. It's there. So keeping that nice tight feeling of your core engagement. We're going to focus on your pelvic floor. So that feeling like you need a wee, but there's not a toilet for another 10 miles in the car. So you've got to squeeze, 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 squeeze. And imagine there's an elevator. It's going right up to the penthouse suite, all the way up, 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 up. And then let it drop down to about the halfway. And then about the third floor. And then all the way, let that go. But still trying to keep that core engagement if you can. We're going to do that again. So the pelvic floor, so squeeze like you need a wee, all the way up to the very, very top floor. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. Let it go to about 50%. And a little tiny bit more. And that feeling of engaging your pelvic floor, that's going to support everything, particularly if you have a lower back problem. The pelvic floor is really going to support that. So we're strengthening from the inside out. So the last little bit, just to prepare ourselves. So make sure there's movement in your fingertips. We tend to focus everything in here. So take a breath, wiggle those fingers. And we're just going to gently say yes with the head. So just very slowly scanning your space. So I like to say, imagine, if you like, and close your eyes, you might fall over. You're in your favourite place with a view, and you're looking out to that horizon. Although at the moment our view is our home space. So notice everything, notice lamps, notice mirrors, pictures on the walls, everything. And just make that the last one. So we're just waking up the neck, very gently taking your head up to glance at the ceiling. Don't drop your head back, so keep it in control all the way down, tucking your chin towards the chest and back up. So nice and slow again. Really easy. Really relaxing. Thinking about that nice tight buckle belt, thinking about your pelvic floor, thinking about your feet, long neck, and make that the last one. We're just going to start to wake up the shoulders. So I'm crossing my arms, crisscrossing all the way up to above my head and all the way back down again. So we're breathing in on the up and out on the down. That's good. So nice and easy. It just gets your shoulders used to moving, especially if you've been sat in front of a computer all day. We're all doing a lot more sitting right now. So nice and easy. Very good. Do a couple more of those. And out. Last one. And out. Let those arms melt away. Let's get into the shoulders. So I'm going to do a shoulder roll. I'm going to put my fingertips on my shoulders and make an elbow roll. Arms come all the way around, and then I'm coming down and I'm coming straight up into a rise. So this is where if you're on a squishy mat, you might not want to. Be careful that you start to wear your shoulders as earrings. Make sure there's space. And my hands, if I wiggle my fingers, I can still see them throughout my periphery. I lower my arms, staying in that rise, and gently lower, controlling everything on the way down. Shoulders, elbows, arms, and lift up, up, up. Push the floor away through my toes, finding strength in my ankles. Find that balance, that's it. Feel if you wobble, that's fine. Find that wobble, and just find that center again. No big deal, slowly lower. So controlling it on the way down, and controlling it on the way up. So thinking of pushing the floor away through your feet. Push, 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 push. So not a sudden rise. Control, lifting up through the fingers, long spine. Try not to clench your glutes if you can. Easier said than done. Think about using that lovely belt, that buckle belt. Think about using your pelvic floor and slowly lower. But imagine you don't get any shorter. Your head is still where it was. Yeah, lovely feeling of lengthening. Let's have one more. Shoulders, elbows, arms. Press the floor away, lifting up. Easy, easy. Try not to hold your breath. Long spine. Imagine your spine's lengthening. Bring the shoulders down into the base of the spine. And then letting those hands drift apart, slowly lowering. We do not get any shorter. There we go. And there's an amazing feeling of length. Okay, I'm going to keeping that nice strong alignment, taking my fingers behind my ears. We're just going to do some work on our core while standing up. So I'm going to take a breath in. And as I breathe out, I'm doing a gentle twist, spiral to the side. Breathing in, breathing out, coming back to the center. Okay, and the other way, breathe in, gentle twist. So think about your hip bones staying exactly where they are and everything happening from the top of your waistband. Bring it back to center. That's it, keep going just like that. Use that eye line around your room as well. See everything. Breathing out, try not to clench your glutes. Try to use that belt. Try to use that pelvic floor halfway up to the penthouse or wherever you prefer. Breathing out. Okay, keeping your fingers there. We're just going to go into a little side action. So I'm breathing in and I'm pushing over. This time when I breathe in, I want you to think when you're coming up, I want you to think of it coming from your ribs. Your ribs pull you up. Yeah, breathe in. Breathe out, I'm going over, don't collapse. My head is going up and out this way. Breathing in. Let this action come from your ribs. Ribs pull you up. Good, and again, breathe in. And out. Pull in that nice bolt buckle. Bolt buckle, that's it. Pull up by the ribs. One more to the other side. Breathe in. And out. Last one, breathe in. Think about the ribs pulling you up. Stacking up, 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 up. Very good, give your arms a shake. Oh yeah, hello arms, you look awake. Okay, we're gonna do some squats. We're gonna do 2 sets of squats today. So we're gonna start with the ones out with your feet nice and wide. Second position for us dance types for me. So not too wide, you don't want to be doing the splits. Your toes are towards the corners. I'm just going to put my hands on my hips for now. And I want you to imagine that you're sliding your body down a wall. Okay, so we're not letting your nose buck forward and your bum stick out. So I'm sliding my back up and down a wall. That's very nice. So really nice and slow and gentle. If you want to work this a little bit more intensely, if you flex your toes off the floor, it really makes your center have to work and figure out where it needs to be. So in order to keep that balance, we're breathing in on the way down, out on the way up, pushing the floor away through the heels. We're thinking about that belt being pulled in nice and tight and the pelvic floor being almost halfway up to the penthouse, somewhere there. That's good. If you want to work a little bit harder, hold those arms out just to get the arms working nice and hard. Okay, so we're going to keep it there. For those of you that are feeling brave today, we're going to do one of LP's favourite Pilates moves, those of you that know LP. So as I go down, I lift a heel, this arm comes in, and then up. I go down, I lift the heel, I woof the arm. That's lovely, going down. That's very good. So nice deep squat. Lift that heel. Very good. Press the floor away. Think about sliding down the wall. Pressing into the toe. Very good. Breathing in. That's good. So breathe in and out, in and out. We're going to do a few more of those in your own time. So if you find that trying to follow the breathing makes you feel a little bit lightheaded, which you can do if it's new to you, then just concentrate on the movement and just try and make sure that you're not holding your breath at any point. So that's good. We're going to make this for the last one. So nice deep squat if you can. Really lift that heel. Press the floor away as you push up to come to standing. Very nice. Woohoo! Give this. I'm feeling warmer now. Okay, give those legs a shake. So I'm going to do a second set of squats, but today I'm going to do the squats facing the side. I think it might be a bit more helpful with these squats. So I am in a parallel. So my feet are hip distance apart. So be mindful that that is not hip distance apart, that's shoulder distance apart. Hip distance apart is usually one or two fists. So If you're not sure, it's a really easy way to check. You should just fit those 1 or 2 fists in between, no more or no less. So I'm going to take my bum back and my top of my bun forwards, like so. So I'm reaching through my fingertips, I'm not taking my shoulders with them, I'm drawing my shoulders down, and then I'm pushing the floor away and pressing my hands backwards to stand up. So in this stand position, you've got to be really careful that we're not jutting your ribs forward. You've got to find that really nice alignment that we had before. So it's not about this either, it's finding that middle ground. So think about your placement of your feet. Think about relaxing in your glutes and just think about drawing your tummy slightly in towards your spine to help everything settle into position. And that's a really nice posture. You don't want to stick your rib cage out. You want to relax in your ribs. Let your shoulders curve a little bit. It doesn't want to be like this, but it doesn't want to be like that. It's got to be your middle place. We take a nice deep breath in as we go down into the squat. Think about sending your bum back, fingers forward, and we breathe out. Press it away. And again, breathe in. And out. Now again, if you want to work a little bit more intensely, just flex your toes off the floor for the whole exercise. Lovely. Keep going, breathing in. And out. So really think about pressing the floor away through the heels of your feet to stand up. Let that action come from your legs. Don't let it come from anything else. And think about that belt buckle being pulled in really tightly. Your core is going to be working tremendously anyway. It's a really smart bit of kit. We're going to do 3 more. Breathing in and out. Keep that weight in both feet. Breathing in. Bum back as if you're hovering on a horrible toilet. You know, we've always been there. Everyone's been to that music festival. And you've got to sit down. You don't want to sit down. It's that hover. And breathing out. Okay, we're going to extend this a little bit. So I'm going to go down into a half a squat. And I'm going to lift my heel and press. And then I'm going to lift the opposite heel and press. So I want you to imagine whilst you're lifting and lowering that you've got something balancing on the bottom of your back. And you've got to keep it still. If you want to work a little bit harder, then start to use your arms as well. So as I lift my heel, I send my hands back and center, but I've got to keep really still. And center. You're going to feel it in your legs. That's it. That's good. 2 more. Last one. And standing up. Woohoo! I'm feeling a lot warmer just now. Excellent. Okay. Have a little twist, have a little wiggle. Do whatever you need to do. Okay. We're going to go down into our roll down sequence. So lots of you know this already, but I'm going to go through it for those of us that are new today. So if you are familiar with this, please feel free to carry on through this exercise as you like. I'm standing nice and tall. I'm finding that lovely alignment, thinking about my shoulders, my wrists, my hips, my knees, ankles and toes. I drop my chin down. I'm curling through my back, focusing on my toes. And then as I start to bend in half, I'm focusing on my knees, trying to feel the weight of my head. Then you've got that moment where you feel a stretch. Now your moment of stretch might be here. I can put my hands on the floor because I'm a dancer and that's what I'm supposed to be able to do. And when I get there, I bend my knees. I want you to imagine there's a nice cup of tea on your back. You've got to keep it really, really still. And I'm taking it out. Now you're either going to take it to a box position or you're going to take it to a plank position. You make your choice. And in that position, you're just going to do 3 nice, easy presses. So 1 and up. So I'm thinking of my nose going in front of my hands. And it's my nipples that are in between my hands, okay? Not my nose. So you've got to really think about that position. I do 3 of those and I reverse the action. Think about that cup of tea as well. All the way to straight legs. Find that curve and then uncurling 1 vertebra at a time like a lovely bike chain in your spine. Okay, if you feel discomfort in your lower back, just know whether it's discomfort like the lower back has been a bit woken up and moved in a new way, or whether it's actual, you know, pain, you'll know. Go with your gut instinct. If you're down here and you're rolling up, soften in the knees to give your lower back a little bit of a hand to come back up again. So I take a nice deep breath in. I roll down through the body, reaching down towards my toes. Focus is down, and then when I feel that moment, I gently take myself out into either a plank or a box position. Then you can take 3 presses of your choice. So either tricep dips or your elbows stay in, or let your elbows go out, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And we're breathing in on the way down, out on the way up. If you want to do more than 3 presses, then please do. Just work absolutely to your own level. The most important thing on this exercise isn't the presses, it's how you're getting down and how you're getting up. So I'm breathing out. Really let that head be heavy. Gently out, controlling that center. Think about that cup of tea being balanced on your back. Taking my presses, breathing in and out. And in. Out. So nice and slow and steady. And out. Controlling it on the way back. Trying not to swing. Take all the time in the world. Find that lovely stretch. Softening the knees to uncurl if you need to. You're going to do 2 more of those in your own time. So adding in more presses if you want. You might like to stay in this press for a little moment, this little fold over. Find those little moments that you like. When you get to the end of your second one, then don't come up to standing. Just sit yourself back and have a rest. So I'm really trying to take it softly, softly, keeping my back really still. And I personally always notice that I'm better at going out than coming back. But that makes sense, isn't it? Because we're built to go forwards, not to go backwards. So I'm on my last one. Gently on the way out. Really watch where you're going. Keep those hips nice and still. My last 3. Think about that alignment. Think about pushing the floor away through the heels of your hands. And out. And then instead of coming up, I'm going to relax my toes and sit back in child's pose. So I'm separating my knees. So look, my tummy's got somewhere to go. And I'm just resting my head. You can just let your body go. Don't overstretch it. Gently take your fingertips for a walk. And you're encouraging your bum down towards your heels. If your bum isn't sitting on your heels, that's more normal than if it is. And just have a little wiggle. Don't feel like you need to be completely still there. Just have a moment and take a breath. We're going to be going down onto our tummies when you're ready. So as soon as you're ready, come down. Ooh. So we've got 2 exercises. Now last week we did loads of stuff on all fours, didn't we? And it was caning on our wrists. So you'll be pleased to know there's not so much today. So I'm going to show you first. We're going to go back into that plank position. So you've got either a plank with your toes tucked under and your knees on the floor, or a full plank. And we're going to be doing some downward dogs, but half downward dogs. So I bend my knees and I send my bum up towards the ceiling, and then I'm pressing back out again and lengthening through my spine. So you can do this with your knees on the floor. So I just keep your toes tucked under and then pressing forward. Okay, so breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and out. So on the bend, especially if you're in a full plank, just take your eye line down towards your knees and find that strength of movement. So pressing your core forward, like a bullet out of a gun. And out. Don't forget you've got the option of having your knees on the floor. This is a really nice one if you suffer with lower back pain, to stretch out that lumbar part of your spine. We're going to take 2 more, and then we're going to rest. Last one. And out. And just rest yourself back down Give your bum a little wiggle. Okay, I'm just going to have to make myself some space. So we're going to do some more work on your lumbar now. So I'm lying flat on the mat. I'm going to turn to you so you can hear my voice clearly. But when we get going, you need to keep your focus down towards your mat, okay? So that you've got a good alignment of the spine. I take my hands and I turn them palms downwards, like so. And I'm going to think of stretching down as if I want to touch the outside of my foot without bending my knee up like I just did. So I take a breath in, feel free to watch first. And as I breathe out, I reach towards my feet and I lift my chest off. Now, this movement can be absolutely tiny or it can be big. It will depend on how strong you are. If you feel like you're clenching your bum, you've got to really try and relax that so that the work is coming from your lumbar, which is here. So send your mind to this lower part of your back and tell that bit that it's got to do some work. So the stronger we can get this part of your back, the less you're going to suffer with lower back pain. So I breathe in and I gently breathe out and reach towards my feet. I feel a little bit of movement coming from the upper part of my torso. Breathing in and out to lower. Breathe in. Out. Think of a reach. Drawing my shoulder blades down. Relaxing in my glutes. It's really hard to do this without tensing your bum. Takes a lot of thought. Breathing in. And out. I'm going to do 3 more of these. Breathing out. That's good. In your own time. Try and keep your eye line down towards the floor, towards your mat. So try not to lift the chin at all. So get a really nice line. If you could draw a line, like from the top of your head, or like where my bun is on top of my head, all the way down to where your tailbone would be. So it's all the lower part of your back. Now, if you feel a bit agitated in the lower spine with this, then maybe rest in between, have a little wriggle, do less. I used to feel massively agitated by this exercise, but kept slowly, it got better. So have a little relax, have a little roll around on the floor. We can do one more like this, we can do some Superman. So I'm just going to make sure I've got enough space here. So I'm going to have one arm out and I'm going to be lifting and lowering and staying opposite arm to leg in a Superman fashion. So if this is too much for you, then you can always just do your legs instead of leg and arm. Okay, I'm going to do leg and arm so you can choose. If you're just doing your legs, either have your hands just resting, 90-degree angles here to give you further support, and try and think of keeping your hip bones super glued to the floor. Okay, so try not to be lifting the whole of the leg. So everything here is staying still and the action is coming very much from the hip. If we're doing both, I'm lifting, breathing in, breathing out on the lift. My nose comes a little inch away from the floor as I lower. Okay, to make life easier, I'm going to make sort of like a star shape and I'm going to alternate. Okay, whilst we're lying there, I want you to imagine there's a Malteser where your belly button is. This is quite cool actually, but maybe you've got some Maltesers so you can treat yourself to one after your class. I want you to imagine there's a Malteser and your belly button, and you want to protect it. So you've just got to draw that belly button away from your mat, just ever so slightly if you can, to protect it. That's going to help you engage your core if you're finding it difficult to tie up that belt buckle here. So I take a breath in, breathing out, lifting one arm and one leg. Keeping the hip on the floor, breathing in and lower. Opposite side, breathe in and lift. Think about that Malteser, don't squish it. Breathe in and out. Again, if the breathing is doing your head in, which it might be, then just remember to breathe in some capacity and concentrate on what your arms and legs are doing. In Pilates, the basic thought process is that on the exertion, you're breathing out. Which, if you do weight training or anything like that, that won't seem completely unfamiliar to you. So think about that Malteser. That's good. We're going to do 2 more each side. Nice and easy. Keep that hip bone stuck into the mat. And when we're lifting, I want you to imagine you're being pulled like in a tug of war from one toe all the way out to the other end. So really lengthening through the body. Try and relax in your glutes as well. Try all the work's coming from your core, not from those mighty glutes. Very good. And rest up. Oh, right, just sit back into a child's pose. Stretch out that lower back, or however you like to. And have a little wiggle there. I'm going to have a little drink, have a swig of drink, and grab your cushion. So if you grab your cushions, now's a good time. We're going to do some stuff on your legs. I'm going to take my cushion at this end. I'm going to have a swig of drink, and we'll do some leg stuff. Well done. That was a little, I can film with that working. That was definitely gentler than the wrists last week. That was good. All right, I've got a couple of new leg bits for you today. And a couple of bits that are going to help with our general leg stuff. So I like to use a cushion, even though I'm on a nice squishy mat, to support my elbow. And there's some other bits as well. We may as well be comfortable whilst we're doing it. So I'm going to bend my underneath leg. That's going to give me some extra support. It means that I can lift up the rib cage just a little bit more. So you want to be careful that we don't start to shrink. You need a big space between your shoulder and your ear. Really nice big space, and then use that to help you lift your rib cage as if you've got something under there. I've got my knee to support me. Now you can either put your hand here. If you want to be super brave, you can put your hand here. If you want to be crazy, you can put your hand here. So you've got some serious options today. And all I'm doing is I'm going to flex that foot, and I'm just going to do some gentle bounces today. Yeah, we call it gentle bounces, but we know that very soon it's not going to feel very gentle. That's going to feel pretty intense. So think about your breathing if you can. Keep thinking about lifting up in this rib cage. If at any point it feels niggly or not very nice, and you feel like your leg's going to drop off or it's suddenly made of lead, just stop, take a breath, and recover when you're ready. No big deal. So if you want to work a bit harder, you can have your hand behind your ear. That just gives a lovely length, and it makes your glutes have to engage even more because of this balance. If you want to work even harder, you could stretch that underneath the leg. You're feeling really brave today. Okay, 3, 2, 1. I'm going to stretch that toe. Feel free to rest between. I'm not going to today. I'm feeling brave. And I'm going to draw some circles. It's pancake day yesterday, so let's go like pancake-sized circles. Now, because of that bouncing you just did with a flex foot, you're going to feel that very straight away. Oh, yes. Oh, my God, she's gone mental. Okay. So try and focus on your breathing and send those circles back. That's it. Little pants if you're not sure. That's good. Little circles, little circles, little circles. 3, 2, 1, and rest. Oh, my gosh, that's so intense. Oh, my gosh. Oh, okay, give it a shake. Right, you're going to have a rest now. Let's get comfy. I'm going to do one on top and one underneath. So I like to lie on my cushion like this, so however you want. Okay, so I am going to, I'm just going to give my leg a little rub. Okay, all right, okay. So I've pointed my feet. So we did something similar to this last week. So joining both legs. So I'm going to take a breath in. I'm going to lift my top leg, but not too high. Breathe in. Breathe out, lift the bottom leg to join it. Breathe in. And breathe out to lower both. Good. So it's worth remembering whilst you're in this position to make sure you're not sat back on your bum, to make sure you're really nice and stacked. So I'm on my hip, I'm using the front part of my thigh to keep me balanced in my hand here. I take a breath in. I breathe out. Think about that lovely belt buckle helping you as well. Breathe in. Breathe out, your feet join. Breathe in. Breathe out to lower. We're going to try a couple more of those. If it's too much, then just do some little leg rest. If that's too much, then just have a rest. Breathing in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. One more. Breathing in. Little tiny lift. Breathe in and out. Breathe in And out. Very nice. Oh yeah, give your knees a squeeze. Yeah, that was good. Oh my goodness. You know, I always say to them, I'm like, oh, I plan what I'm going to do, but I obviously don't do the whole class because, you know, I don't have the time or the information. It's not, so I'm feeling it just like you are. Right, I'm going to rest up front leg in front. You know what's coming next, my favourite one. So I'm just relaxing that, and I'm going to be working the underneath leg. So if you want to work harder with this one today, then give it a bit of a flex. We're trying to get the action to come from your core, from your pelvic floor, from the very, very top of your thigh, and this time, yes, from your glutes. So I take a breath in, and I breathe out, and I squeeze everything to get that foot to move. Now, it might just do a little shudder, or it might lift off the floor. Breathe in, and out. So you will know what's working for you. But there's no, anyone can do this, so don't do that. You look like a porpoise. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, squeeze. So you've got an action reaction. It's a really intense muscle building exercise, strengthening exercise, where you're using muscles really, really deep down underneath the tissue, which will support your lower back and strengthen your hips. So you're going to do a few of those, breathing in and then breathing out as you squeeze. Letting something happen, breathing in and breathing out to release. 2 more. Last one. And breathing in and out to release. Now we take a breath in, breathing out to squeeze. Keep it in that squeeze, and I want you to draw a little golf ball with your heel. Not a circling statement. It was all the talk of balls last week. Golf balls and cricket balls. I tried to use pancakes today, but let's be honest, it always goes back to balls. And then we turn it the other way. Squeezing. Oh, there you can feel it now. Yes, little golf ball circles. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Oh my Lord, very good. So give your legs a little squeeze. Oh, very nice. I can feel that on my lower back as well, so don't feel worried if you can. It's a lot of intense workout for this lower part of your body that you don't really get any other time. So very carefully, you're going to come up to sitting. Now's a great time to have a little drink. We can do some moves, sat cross legs, or sat up, and then we'll go on the other side. So I'm gently going to come up so the whole room doesn't spin. I'm going to grab Tina, and I'm going to sit on her. So if you've either got a yoga block or a big, nice, big fat book, depending on whether you'd like to sit cross legs, I don't particularly like sitting cross legs, but or with your legs that stretch, if you just perch on the end of your book, just lets your back have a little bit more space, okay? I also learned today that if when we're sitting cross legs, you shorten your cross. So instead of crossing at ankles, you cross midway through your shins. That can also be a bit more comfortable if you find cross legs a bit uncomfy. So you're just giving your legs some space. Okay, so I'm sitting up nice and tall. We're just going to start by rotating the shoulders, get some movement in the spine. So just a gentle press away, and I'm looking over that way. I'm trying to keep my hips pointing towards you, and then back to the center, and the other way. So I'm gently going to press away. Let's get some rotation in the spine, pulling the shoulder blades down, sitting up nice and tall on that book or block. And back to the center. Let's do another one of those. Breathe in, breathing out. Breathe in and out. Think about those shoulder blades. Just put your chin on the shelf as well. 4 more. Don't be worried if you hear a few clumps and clicks. Hopefully that's a very good thing. Back to the center. I'm going to take some shoves. So I'm going to breathe in and take my shoulders into my ears. And then breathe out and let them go. So really send them down, breathing in. And out and down. So opening out the chest, pull your shoulder blades down into the base of the spine. 2 more of those. And 1 more. Very nice. Okay, I'm going to do a little stretch of the neck, which we did last week. And then we're going to do a little bit of work on the arms. So In fact, let's do the work on the arms first. We'll leave the neck till afterwards because it's quite a nice release. So I want you to bring your elbows in towards the bottom of your ribcage, right, tuck them into your waist. And we're closing your arms like they're barn doors, and then we're opening them out. And as you open them out, I want you to focus on your shoulder blades pinching together and trying to keep those elbows as tight as you can. So in and out. So this is really good if you feel any tension in your neck. Again, if you're sat at a desk or you spend a lot of time driving, this is a really good one. And as you're sat on your book or your block, just feel how long your spine is. If you feel uncomfortable with your legs crossed, just stretch them out in front of you. That doesn't make any difference how you're sitting, as long as you're feeling as comfortable as you can. You can even kneel if you feel more comfortable kneeling. Okay, so we're going to do 2 more of those. And on the next one, we're going to do a stretch. And then tuck them in and close. We go out and stretch. Tuck them in and close. Now, if you want to be really clever about it, every time you close your barn doors, you want to make sure you have an opposite arm on top. So this time, I've got my right. Next time, I'll have my left. Okay. Very nice. So keep going in that, nice and steady. Focus on that feeling of your shoulder blades. Focus on the work coming from the tops of your arms. Imagine you've got 2 lovely plates of something delicious. Serve those plates. Serve them. Don't spill what's on top. That would be a travesty. Serve, serve, serve. We're going to do 3 more. And 1. Nice breaths. 2. Long arms. And 3. Now this time I'm going to hold my arms up there with those trays and just do some little bounces. We're not going to do the same amount of bounces as we did last time, because we're right through the halfway point, aren't we? We're past halfway. So little tiny points, as if you're trying to tap little buttons. Tap, 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 tap. Pull your shoulders down into your spine. Your chin is on a shelf. Your spine is nice and long. Try and relax in your legs if you can. Then flip them and just patting, like a little pat, like you're patting a little dog. There you go. Charmaine, you can actually pat your little dog if you like. Nice long neck. Now, if you start to feel it in your arms, before you have a rest, and it's perfectly fine to have a rest, try and focus on the movement coming from your shoulder blades, not from the tops of your arms. Little presses forward, tapping buttons forward. Tap, 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 tap. Strong arms. Lengthening out the ends of your fingertips, chin is on a shelf. And then pressing back, rotating in that arm. Oh, this is a tough one. And just press, 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 tap, 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 tap. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And just let the arms melt down towards your side. Whoa, give them a little shake. Okay, we'll do a little bit. So round your back if you're feeling that. Lot of intense work on your shoulder blades today. Very nice. Okay, we'll do a little bit on your neck. So this is a really good one if you get some tension in your neck. And just resting my hand on top of my head, sort of trying to find the top of my ear there. I take a breath in. And I don't pull your neck over. Just let gravity do the work and the weight of your hand. Just get a little bit of space between your earlobe and your shoulder. And then take this hand away and stretch it away and draw a little circle. All that does, that little circle, is it just changes where that stretch is in all the lots of tiny little tendons and nerves that are in your neck. And then send that little circle the other way. So it's just changing where that stretch is happening. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now rest that stretched arm. Take your hands away from your head, and your head should feel like it's about to float to the ceiling like a balloon. And then bring your head back to center. Take a shoulder roll, and we go the other way. So hand wraps over the top of your head. Just gently brushing my top of my ear. Take a breath in. Breathing out. Gentle stretch. Encouragement rather than a yank. So I'm going to extend this arm way now. For whatever reason, I feel it more intensely on this side. Not intensely, I can just definitely feel like, oh, there's a bit of tension in there. Little circle with this hand. And really draw that shoulder down. We've just got a shoulder work today, haven't we? It's good. Release that tension. Try not to hold the breath. 7 circles the other way. Lengthen some space. I'm really reaching with this finger that's doing the circles. Almost feel like my ear is reaching up towards the hand that's near it. 3, 2, 1, and rest. So let that circling hand rest. Take your hand away from the top of your head first. Have that funky feeling where you feel like you're floating. Whee! Yeah, just take some gentle yeses and nos with your head. That's it. And another little shoulder roll. Very nice. Right, grab your pillow. We're going to do your legs on the opposite side. Aha. So, thanks, Tina. You've been great. Till next time. Poor Tina, she's the only time that she ever gets any action in this time. Right, I'm down. I'm on my elbow again. I'm bending my underneath leg for extra support. I'm getting up nice and tall. So you need to be careful that you don't end up like this. Ooh, especially if you're on a slidey floor or on a slidey mat. And I'm flexing that foot. So you'll be able to feel if you feel wonky. So work it out. Either hand on your hip, hand behind your ear if you're feeling brave, or hand just down here, pulling up underneath the rib cage and some gentle bounces. Now, it's always important with any of these exercises that we don't want the whole body to be doing this all the time. You've got to work really hard to keep everything from your waistband, from your belly button to the top of your head super still. So send the energy out the top of your head. Think about that belt buckle tightening, maybe an extra knot. Think about that pelvic floor heading back up towards the penthouse. So squeezing like needle-wee. That's it. Now you will feel it more intensely on this side because you've already done some leg work on both legs. But hopefully that little rest where I took your focus to your arms as well. That's good. So don't rock. Don't be a seahorse. Just keep it nice and still. And if you're finding it hard, then make those bounces smaller. Okay, if you're finding it hard to keep still. Stretch that toe, little circles. So again, make your circles. I think pancake size is probably quite right, actually. And if you find it hard, then, you know, and you feel like your whole body's moving, then make those circles smaller and see how far you can push it. Like, how far can I make that circle? Or maybe slow your circles down. Like, figure out where it is that you need to be. Keep lifting up in your rib cage. Up, 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 up. And send the circles back. I know I'm feeling it too. That's good, little circles. Oh my Lord. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. That'll do. Right, give it a squeeze. Oh my God. They're good. I mean, I know it's not relaxing, but it's very strengthening. I promise you. It is very strengthening. Right. Take a moment to relax. So make yourself as comfy as you can using that cushion. Okay. Very quickly, let's get through these ones. So I'm taking thinking about that nice alignment. Hand here, hand here. If you want to feel really brave, you can always stick your hand up in the air, really test your balance today. I take a breath in, breathe out, lift that top leg, not too far. Breathe in, breathe out, join my feet together. Breathe in, breathe out to lower. And again, breathe in, lift that top leg. Breathe in just a little. With that bottom leg on the out. Breathe in and lower. Very nice. Keep going. Breathe in and out. Lift. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lengthen. Breathe in. Breathe out and lower. Good. This is really good. Whole body workout, this one. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and lower. Can we do one more? Breathe in and out. Breathe in and out. Breathe in and lower. Well done. Right, relax that front leg. Give it a rub if you feel like you need to. I'm going to flex the underneath leg if you want to, or leave it really, really sleepy. The more dead the underneath leg is, the better for this one. So we're taking a nice breath in, and I'm breathing out and tensing everything in my center to try and get some movement in that foot. And out. And that's it. So just in your own time, squeezing and releasing. And the release needs to be 100% release now, even your core and your pelvic floor, because the more you relax between, the more intense the strengthening is afterwards. So really go for it, really challenge your body. Can you lift your foot off the floor by using the power of your glutes? Yes, you can. Squeeze like you mean it. I'm going to do 2 more there. And on the second one, I want you to hold it up in that squeeze. And then flex that foot if you want to work a little bit harder and you're not already. Little circles. Keep squeezing. Squeeze the tops of your legs together. Squeeze your glutes together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Little circles, pressing away through the heel if you're flexing your foot. Sending the circle the other way. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Try not to take your shoulders up in towards your ears. Try and draw them down. Be long in your spine. Gently encourage your belly button back towards that spine as well. That's it. 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Very good. Okay, just got a few more exercises to go. A couple more, then we'll have a little stretch and a couple of minutes of relaxation. Okay, so I'm very carefully going to take myself back up to sitting, so do take your time. Now this is an option, another good time to use your cushion, because we're going to be doing some work on your core. If you had a Pilates ball, it would be good, but cushion works just as well. If you sit right on the seam of it, you can use it, and all it does is it supports your lower back. So it's not going to mean that your core or your center isn't working just as hard. It just gives your lower back a bit of, you know, time out, okay? So it's quite a good one. And you can use a cushion, or you can use a rolled up jumper, whatever. So I'm making tram lines. So from my big toe all the way through my knees, through my hips, up through my rib cage, shoulders, ears, bun on the top of my head. Apologies if you're not lucky enough to have a bun. I'm sitting up really tall to begin with. So I draw my shoulders down. So it's not this. It's finding that where I'm pushing up and I'm stacking up nice and tall, just like you were when you were standing up. I take a breath in and I'm breathing out and I'm curling in. So I'm curling that spine under as far as I can go until I feel like my toes are about to come off the floor. Now, everyone is going to be different. You might be able to go all the way down and all the way back up. I'm breathing in, breathing out, and I'm being pulled up by my fingertips. Breathing in and out. So let that lower back soften and curve all the way down, keeping a nice straight back. Breathe in, breathing out. Through my fingers, finding that nice long spine. Breathing in and out. Curling, 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 curling. Breathing in and out. Fingertips first. Very nice. We'll do 3 more. And out. As far as you can comfortably go. And breathing in and out. On this second one, we're going to stay down. Are you ready? Breathe in and out. Now, when you're in that point, you're going to pull the bow and arrow. So I'm keeping everything in my lower half pointing forward. I'm twisting. I'm coming back to the center, and I'm going to twist the other way. So I'm pulling the bow and arrow nice and slow and steady. Breathing in and out. Very nice, that's it. Try and keep it really continuous. Use that pillow if you feel it in your lower back. If it gets too intense, don't be afraid to curl back up, take a breath, and join in if you feel like you can. And up. I'm going to do 1 more on each side. So make these last ones the last ones. And up. I can really feel it. These are like Russian twists, but in slow motion. And then I'm coming up, stacking up really tall. Oh, and just roll forwards and round just fine. Give your lower back a little bit of a loving. Very good. That's a really good one. I do like that one. And never be afraid to use something to support your spine. It's just helping your body to work to its fullest without giving you any more aggravation. Right, we're going to do 1 more. I'm going to go straight back. Oh, I don't want that there. In fact, I'm going to put that there. So I'm going to go back. Oh, I'm going to have a rest. So I'm finding that nice alignment. Tram lines once again from my big toes all the way through my hip bones, ribs, right up to my ears, up the top of my head. And I'm finding that lovely feeling in my spine. So we've all got a natural curve. That's how we should be. That's how we're made. All we're trying to do is make this part on top, your triangle, so hip bones to pubic bone, as flat as possible. So be aware if you feel like you're overarching, so that the pubic bone is pointing down towards the floor. You've got to slightly rotate and tilt your pelvis until you feel like it's really flat. So you could have that cup of tea there and you're not going to spill a drop. Okay, so just don't be afraid to gently rotate your pelvis backwards and forwards until you find that point where you feel like, yeah, that feels good. I can feel that feels nice and flat on top, that lovely triangle shape. Okay, I'm going to take one foot off to tabletop. So you've got two options here. Option one is to have 2 feet at tabletop. Option two, if you're feeling a strain on your lower back, is to keep this foot flat on the floor. Again, it makes no difference in terms of how hard you're working. It's just supporting your body. That's all it is. And I'm doing some toe taps today. So this action is coming directly from my hip. So I'm not bending my knee. You can see the difference, I hope. I'm rotating, I'm moving from my hip and taking that toe tap away. So if you're working with both legs, we're doing one and then the other. If you're working with one leg on the floor, I would suggest doing 5 or 6 on one leg and then changing to the other. I like to keep my head on a cushion because I feel like it helps my lower part of my body to keep in that nice flat shape. And once again, I can't stress it enough. It's not making it any easier in terms of the movement being less intense. It's just giving my body a break so it can work as hard as it can without being injured. Good. Okay, if you want to work a little bit harder, you've got a couple of options. You can either go with both legs. I wouldn't recommend it if you do struggle with lower back. Or you can simply take your head and shoulders off of your cushion. So we're going to do a few more. Nice, easy, going from your hips, so reaching down towards the end of your mat, from the hip, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Very good. Just bring your knees in towards your chest, give them a little squeeze. Give your lower back a bit of a massage. That's it. And then just stretch your feet above your head, hands above your head, like you're in a tug of war, and have a little stretch. Oh, stretch everything out. Nice, nice, nice. Right, we're going to have a little stretch, and then we'll have some relaxation. So I'm going to just take, actually you can keep your cushion where you are for this, but you don't need to move anything. Then I'm going to bring my feet back up flat. We're going to get a bit of spine rotation. So I'm going to stretch out the leg that's nearest to you. And bring my other knee in towards my chest and give it a little squeeze. Don't give it a little circle as well, one way and then the other. And then I'm just going to take my arm that's closest, so opposite arm to knee, and I'm just going to draw that knee across my body. So I'm trying to keep my shoulders pinned towards the mat. And you might have lots of mobility in your spine. You might be able to get your knee on the floor. That's absolutely fine. Just wherever you are. So it's a bit of a stretch. And different people feel it in different places. I tend to feel it here on the outside of my glutes. You might feel it in your lower back. To increase it, just turn your eye line away from that knee that's crossing the body. Take a nice deep breath in and breathe out and see if you can relax and let it just go another ½ an inch. Almost like you're trying to extend your spine. Keep those shoulder blades on the floor. That's the most important thing. Bring a nice rotation in the spine. Relax the glutes. Take a breath in. Bring it back to center. Give that knee another squeeze. And put that foot flat back on the mat. We're going to do the same thing with the other leg. So I'm going to draw my knee in first. Give it a little squeeze, a little rotation. Nice and easy. I'm just going to extend that underneath the leg. I take my opposite arm to that bent knee and I stretch it across my body. Really gently, and I'm looking away from it as well. I could probably go a little bit further if I wasn't crashing into my bookcase just there, but hey ho. That's okay. I'm keeping both shoulders on the floor. That's the most important thing. I'm feeling a stretch. This side, I'm feeling a stretch in my lower back, which is quite pleasant. Take a nice deep breath in. And breathing out, so you can go ½ an inch more. Relaxing your glutes. Let gravity do a bit of work here. Nice, very good. Drawing everything back up to the center, really carefully, take all the time you need. Bringing both knees in towards your chest. Just tucking your chin towards your knees as well, making yourself into a little ball, rolling side to side. That's it. Okay, I'm going to extend one leg away. So you can either have your leg flat or flat on the mat, doesn't matter which. And I'm just going to do a little stretch. So my fingertips interlink behind my thigh. I'm sending that foot up towards the ceiling. So you can stretch your foot, you can flex your foot. Obviously, if you flex your foot, you're going to feel it more intensely. Try not to let your hips come off the floor. Try and make sure that your whole down to your tailbone is on that mat. So it doesn't matter where your stretch is. And it doesn't really matter if your leg has to be completely straight. You're going to probably feel a little bit here. So just know that I can feel a stretch somewhere. That'll do. Somewhere's better than nowhere. That's it. And then if you take a breath in and breathe out and see if you can draw that leg a little bit closer. Feel a little bit more of a stretch. Or wherever you feel that. Be careful of those hips coming off the mat. Take a breath in and send that foot away. And again, so we go on the other leg. So I like to keep my opposite foot flat on the floor, just to support my back. But if you prefer, you like to be here, that's absolutely fine. You get a bit more stretch in your hip, I guess. Take a breath in, send that leg away. That's it, nice and easy. A little rotation up there if you fancy it. So be careful to not put any weight right on the back of the knee joint, so in your knee pit. So either on your thigh or on your calf, wherever you feel that you can stretch to. Take a breath in, breathing out and drawing that leg in a little bit more if you can. Little stretch. That's it, try and relax in your hips and send it far away. Okay. So we're just going to take a little minute to focus on our breathing. So find your comfy place. You might be happy on your back with your feet flat or with your legs relaxed. You might prefer to lie on your side. So find your happy place. A lotus stretch is a nice one if you're into that. And just rest. So if you're resting on your back and you're able to put your hands on your ribs, that's quite nice. Or if not, just have them relaxed to the floor. But just find somewhere relaxing. You've worked hard for an hour. Time to just take a moment. So I want you to focus on your breathing, breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And I don't want you to really measure that breath. I want the in-breath to be nice and steady, as if you're smelling something beautiful, and then your out-breath to be really like a sigh. Notice the speed in which the breath leaves your body. As you're breathing, continue to breathe in and out through your nose, predominantly, and through your mouth. Notice the warmth of the breath in your mouth as it leaves your body. And then just let your natural rhythm of breathing come back to you. Keeping your eyes closed. Just going to start by working your mind's eye down your body as if you're looking at yourself from a bird's eye view. So notice as you scan through from the top of your head and across your face, notice if you hold any tension, maybe between your eyebrows and your frown lines, definitely in your jaw. Just let your jaw relax. Give your jaw a little wriggle and a rotate. As your mind comes down into the nape of your neck, notice if your shoulders are up towards your ears, and just gently encourage them down, and feel how nice that is to let some space into the bottom of your neck. Notice the expanse of your shoulders, your shoulder blades, the strength and power in your arms all the way down to your fingertips. Notice every fingertip, even the little one, the lines in your hands. Draw your mind to your torso in the sheer space from your shoulder all the way across each rib. past your waist, through the softness of your belly, down into your hips. And whilst you're in that area, track the sense of your spine, the natural curve. Imagine each vertebrae if you could see it. Notice the natural curve, the little gap in the base of your spine, the weight, the power of the pelvis and the hips, the strength and length of your thigh all the way down to your knee. Notice where there are heavy points. Are your knees in contact with the floor? Is it the heaviness of your heels? Is it your ankle bone? What can you feel? Notice the arch in your foot all the way down to each of your toes. And now you're aware of the whole body. Notice how heavy it is, how relaxed, how warm. Appreciate that you took some time for yourself today to improve your mobility, to give yourself some headspace, to take your mind away. Take a nice deep breath in through the nose. I want you to fill the lungs. Breathe in. And breathe out every last bit of air. As if you're being stood on, let everything out. Next breath is fresh air. Breathe in. Fill every pocket of your lungs and let it all out. Take another one, big like that. Breathe in. And let it out. And then let your breathing return. Try to focus yourself on breathing through your nose. Be aware that it increases the oxygen flow into your body, which increases your brain, your ability to heal, your ability to strengthen. And as we come to the end of the class, like always, I ask you to stay where you are, keep your eyes closed. You don't need to come and say goodbye. You don't need to switch your machine off, your device. We will do that for you. Thank you for spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I have. Take some nice deep breaths, breathing in and out, feeling relaxed, feeling rejuvenated. And then meeting will end after 3 breaths, breathing in and out, breathing in and out, breathing in and out.